So, friends, let's get our minds together on this one. We've all heard that line, right? Ask and you shall receive. Sounds like a cosmic vending machine. Put your prayer in, bam, out pops your new car. But let's be for real. How many of y'all have asked for stuff and got straight up radio silence? You feel me? You asked for peace and got more drama. You asked for abundance and your bank account is still looking sad. So what's the deal? Was the big guy just playing with us? Here's the twist, and this is where the magic happens. This whole ask and you shall receive thing, we've been reading it all wrong. We've been stuck on the surface level like a kid staring at a screen without understanding there's a whole internet behind it. What if asking isn't about begging and pleading? And what if receiving ain't about getting a package on your doorstep? What if the whole game changes, your entire reality shifts? The moment you truly get what he was actually talking about, stick with me, because we're about to unpack the wildest spiritual hack you've ever heard. And by the end of this, you're going to see your whole life differently. If this hits home for you, do us a solid. Like the video, drop a one-letter in the comments if this is resonating with your spirit, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. The real deal is just getting started. Let's dive in. The real deal is just getting started. Let's dive in. So this first point is where most of us get tripped up right out the gate. We've been operating with what I call the misunderstood vending machine prayer. You know the drill. You approach God or the universe or whatever you call that infinite source, like it's a giant cosmic snack machine. You've got your prayer, that's your coin. You insert it with a little bit of hope and a whole lot of specific instructions. You punch the buttons, B12 for a new job, C45 for healing, D78 for the perfect relationship. Then you stand there waiting, maybe even giving the machine a little shake when nothing comes out. You feel that frustration building when you hear nothing but the silence of an empty universe. You start wondering if the machine is broken, if you didn't put enough faith, coins in, or if you just aren't on the right Wi-Fi network to connect with the divine. This entire model is built on a fundamental and honestly kind of comical misunderstanding. It positions God as a separate being, a celestial warehouse manager who's either busy with other more important requests or who's judging your order to see if it's good for you. It makes the whole spiritual life a transaction. I do this, you do that. I have enough faith, you deliver the goods. And when the goods don't arrive, the natural conclusion is that we failed. Our faith wasn't strong enough. Our words weren't perfect. We didn't perform the right spiritual ritual. We end up feeling guilty, abandoned, and spiritually inadequate. It's a setup for a letdown every single time. But what if the problem isn't the receiver? What if the problem is the entire metaphor we're using? A vending machine is a dead mechanical thing. It has no consciousness, no intelligence, no inherent desire to give you anything. It simply reacts to a command. The divine, the Christ consciousness that Jesus was tapped into is the exact opposite. It is pure, alive, intelligent, creative consciousness itself. It's not a separate entity you negotiate with. It's the very substance of your own being. To approach it like a vending machine is to miss the point so completely, it's no wonder we feel like we're not getting through. This model keeps us stuck in a state of wanting. We are perpetually the person outside the machine, looking in, desiring what we do not have. Our entire focus is on the lack, on the absence of the thing. And by the universal law of consciousness, what you focus on, you perpetuate. So by begging for a thing from a place of lack, all you're really doing is amplifying the feeling of lack You're just confirming to your own soul that you are separate from the good you desire. The vending machine, prayer, therefore, doesn't bridge the gap. It actually widens it. It reinforces the very illusion of separation that the real, deep, mystical teaching of ask and you shall receive is designed to shatter. It's a closed loop of disappointment because the starting point, a God out there and a you down here in need, is a flawed premise. The truth of your being is that you are in the vine, not just a branch hoping the vine will notice you. A flawed premise. The truth of your being is that you are as in the vine, not just a branch hoping the vine will notice you. So if asking isn't about putting in an order with some far-off cosmic kitchen, what in the world is it? This is where we get to the real meat of the teaching. Asking is an inner shift, not an outer beg. It's not about the words you say with your lips. It's about the posture of your entire consciousness. Think about it like tuning a radio. You don't beg the radio station to come through your speakers. You don't negotiate with it. You simply and quietly adjust the dial inside your radio until it lines up with the frequency that's already filling the air all around you. The signal is already there, broadcasting 24/7. The ask is the gentle, deliberate turn of the dial into alignment. It's an inner movement from the static of fear, lack, and separation to the clear signal of peace, wholeness, and oneness. When you're begging, you're coming from a place that says, I do not have. But the spiritual reality, the truth Jesus was pointing to, is that the kingdom, the entire omnipotence of God, is within you. It is your very core. So how do you ask for what you already are? You don't. You turn within, you become still. You shift your attention away from the screaming problems of the outer world, and you rest your awareness on the silent, powerful presence of the I am that you are. This isn't a passive daydream. This is the most active thing you can do. It's an act of spiritual surrender where you stop trying to manage the universe and you instead allow the universe to express itself as you. This inner shift is a movement from the head to the heart. The head is where all the wanting, planning, and worrying lives. It's the realm of the ego, the separate self. The heart, in the mystical sense, is the seat of your true being, the place where you and the Father are one. To ask from this place is to sink into that felt sense of oneness. It's to become so quiet, so receptive, that you can feel the divine current of life itself flowing as your own life. You aren't listing demands. You are, in the words of the psalmist, be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, the ask is complete. It's not a request sent out. It's a recognition of what is already and always true right here, right now. Your very stillness, your conscious abiding in that inner peace, is the ask. It is the dial turning to the correct frequency. It's you aligning your conscious awareness with the infinite substance of spirit, which has no opposite, knows no lack, and is forever expressing itself as all form and good. From this aligned state, every thought, word, and action that follows becomes an extension of that divine harmony, naturally drawing to you the forms and experiences that mirror the inner reality you have consciously claimed as your own. Naturally drawing to you the forms and experiences that mirror the inner reality you have consciously claimed as your own. And this brings us to the most mind-bending part of the whole equation. The receiving is already here. This is the part that completely flips the script on our traditional understanding. We've been conditioned to believe that there's a time lag, a spiritual shipping and handling period between our ask and the receive. We do the inner work, we turn the dial, And then we sit back and wait for the UPS truck of answered prayers to pull up to our curb. But if we're waiting for a delivery, we're still operating from a state of lack, just with a little more spiritual patience. The radical truth is that when your ask is that inner shift into alignment, when you have truly tuned the dial to the frequency of the I am, the receiving is instantaneous because what you are receiving is not a thing, but a consciousness, the good, the harmony, the supply, the peace. It isn't being manufactured in a workshop somewhere and then sent to you. It is the very nature of the divine consciousness itself. It is what God is. So the moment you consciously abide in that presence, the moment you truly know you're honest with it, you are, in that very instant, in receipt of the entire kingdom. You are not waiting for peace. You are being peace. You are not waiting for supply. You are consciously one with the infinite source of all supply. The form it takes, the healed body, the reconciled relationship, the financial solution, is secondary and subsequent. It is the inevitable natural outpouring, the visible evidence of the invisible spiritual substance you have already claimed as your reality. The delay we perceive, the frustrating gap between our prayer and its manifestation, is never on God's side. The divine giving is constant, total, and immediate, like the sun's rays ceaselessly pouring out light. The delay is the time it takes for our own consciousness to fully accept and embody what is already true. It's the time it takes for the ice to melt in the sunlight. The sun doesn't decide to melt the ice. Its very presence does the work. Our old thought patterns, our deeply ingrained beliefs in separation and lack are like that block of ice. They resist the warmth. The receiving is the sun's presence. The melting is a guaranteed outcome. Our job is not to make the sun shine, but to remove the barriers, the mental ice, that prevent us from feeling its warmth. When you have truly asked through inner alignment, you have, in effect, stepped fully into the light, the feeling of fulfillment, of wholeness, of divine certainty that floods your being in that moment. That is the receiving. The outer picture has no choice but to eventually conform to this inner spiritual fact, rearranging itself in the likeness of the harmony you have already consciously accepted as the ultimate reality of your situation. Rearranging itself in the likeness of the harmony you have already consciously accepted as the ultimate reality of your situation. This makes the entire process not a frantic pursuit, but a profound and peaceful realignment. This is the core of it. It's about alignment, not acquisition. You see, when you're focused on acquisition, your entire energy is geared toward getting something from outside yourself to fix a perceived problem inside yourself. It's a state of spiritual consumerism, and it keeps you on a hamster wheel of desire where the joy of getting one thing is quickly replaced by the anxiety of needing the next. You're trying to furnish a house that you believe at its core is structurally unstable. You hang new curtains, you buy a fancy new couch, but the foundation is still cracked. The acquisition model is all about the curtains and the couch, never addressing the foundation. Alignment is different. Alignment is the deep inner work of settling your own consciousness into the truth of what you are, a perfect individual expression of the one infinite I am. It's the understanding that you are not a beggar. At the gate of the kingdom, you are a living, breathing cell within the body of the kingdom itself. The need then is not to acquire things to make you whole, but to align your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with the wholeness that is your eternal and unchangeable nature. You're not trying to get God to give you something. You're allowing the God that you are to express itself more fully and freely through you. The focus shifts from the object you desire to the quality of consciousness you are embodying. Think of it like a musical instrument. An instrument that is out of tune cannot produce harmony, no matter how skilled the musician. You can beg it, you can demand it, you can get frustrated with it, but it will only produce discord. The solution is not to acquire a new instrument, but to stop and carefully tune the one you have. The tuning process is the alignment. You adjust each string not to get something from it, but to bring it into agreement with a universal standard of pitch. When the instrument is in tune, harmony is the natural, effortless result. The music flows because the instrument is in a right relationship with the fundamental laws of sound. In the same way, when your consciousness is aligned, when your thoughts are tuned to the frequency of wholeness, your emotions to the vibration of love, and your will to the rhythm of divine purpose, harmony in your external world becomes the natural, effortless result. You aren't chasing specific outcomes. You are embodying a state of being from which only harmonious outcomes can flow. The specific forms that good takes are infinite and often surprising because they are orchestrated by an intelligence far greater than our limited personal sense of self, which is only ever focused on acquiring the one or two things it thinks will finally make it happy. Orchestrated by an intelligence far greater than our limited personal sense of self, which is of only ever focused on acquiring the one or two things it thinks will finally make it happy. And that right there points us to the very engine of this entire process, the only identity that has the authority to truly ask in a way that guarantees the receive. This brings us to a crucial distinction. Your I am is the only asker that matters. You see, most of our asking, our begging, our vending machine prayers come from the little I. That's the ego, the personality, the collection of stories and histories and wounds that we mistakenly think is who we are. This little is the one that says, I am sick, broke, I am lonely. And it's from the shaky, unstable, and limited sense of self that we often try to petition the infinite. It's like a single flickering light bulb trying to demand more power from the entire electrical grid, all while believing it's separate from the grid itself. The little I is always asking from a place of incompletion, and therefore its prayers are often just affirmations of its own perceived lack. But there is a deeper identity, your true self. This is the I am John or I am Mary. This is the pure, unqualified I am that Moses heard from the burning bush. This is the Christ within, the incorruptible seed of God. That is your true being. This I am is not separate from God. It is the very activity of God individualized as you. It is the vine itself expressing itself as you, the branch. This I am consciousness does not say, I am sick, because it is the very substance of life. It does not say, I am poor, because it is one with the infinite source of all supply. Its very nature is wholeness, peace, and limitless being. When you ask, it must be this I am doing the asking. But how does the I am ask? It doesn't use words. Its ask is a state of being. It asks by simply being what it is. The I am, being one with God, is perpetually in a state of radiant, whole, and complete being. To ask from the I am is to consciously assume this state. It is to silence the noisy demands of the little I and to abide in the quiet, powerful certainty of I am that I am. You are not asking for wholeness. You are standing as wholeness. You are not asking for peace. You are abiding as peace. This is not an affirmation you repeat. It is a level of consciousness you inhabit. From this vantage point, you are not a separate entity trying to get God's attention. You are the very activity of God, and your conscious awareness of this truth is the most powerful ask imaginable, because it is an acknowledgement of what is eternally true. The little may see a problem, but the I am can only know the omnipresent reality of God, which leaves no room for any power in discord or disease. When you shift your identity from the beggar at the gate to the very life of the kingdom itself, your asking and receiving become one and the same moment, a single, seamless activity of divine self-recognition. This unshakable knowing of your true identity as the I am culminates in the ultimate goal of the entire spiritual journey, the final and most profound receive there is. This is the ultimate receive, knowing oneness. You see everything we've talked about, the inner shift, the alignment, the I am consciousness. All of it is leading here to this single transformative realization, the healed body, the financial demonstration, the harmonious relationship. These are all wonderful and natural effects, but they are merely side effects, temporary shadows cast by the substance of the real thing. The real thing, the ultimate gift, is not any specific form of good. It is the conscious, abiding, and felt awareness that you and the Father are one. It is the end of the sense of separation, the final quenching of the thirst that no amount of worldly success could ever satisfy. This is the pearl of great price. This is what all the mystics and sages throughout time have pointed toward. When you know oneness, the entire game changes, because you are no longer a player on the field. You realize you are the field itself. Your relationship with life transforms from one of petition to one of participation. You are no longer trying to get God to do something for you. You are recognizing yourself as the very medium through which God is being expressed. Fear, in its most fundamental sense, becomes impossible. How can you fear an external world when you know there is nothing truly external to you? How can you fear lack when you know your being is one with the infinite source of all that is? How can you fear death when you know your true identity is the I am, the deathless, eternal consciousness that was never born and can never die? This knowing is not an intellectual concept. It is a living reality that permeates your entire being. It's a feeling of being utterly at home in the universe, of being cradled in a divine intelligence that is both the core of your being and the fabric of all creation. From this state, you don't receive things, you witness the infinite play of the one expressing itself in, as and through the infinite forms of your life. The good that comes to you is not a reward for good behavior. It is the natural emanation of the wholeness you are consciously being. The challenges that arise are no longer perceived as attacks from a hostile universe, but as opportunities for a deeper level of that oneness to be revealed and embodied. Your entire life becomes a sacrament, a holy communion with the present moment, because you see the divine face in everything and everyone. You understand that ask and you shall receive was never a transactional promise for getting stuff. It was the ultimate spiritual equation, a roadmap out of the dream of separation. The ask is the turning within to your true I am nature, and the receive is the dawning realization of your eternal and unbreakable oneness with the all in all. This is the peace that passes all understanding. This is the joy unspeakable. This is the kingdom of heaven realized not as a location, but as the very condition of your own soul when it has awakened to what it has always been.